Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to the Listen to Your Heart podcast. My name is Laura Ratliff, former actress turned global entrepreneur, teaching people around the world to use your thoughts, emotion, and an action plan so that you too can reach your wonderful dream life you know you deserve. Each week, we bring you an inspirational story that will help you connect, inspire, and ignite a fire within you so that you can reach your full potential. Together, we can raise the vibration around the world. On this week's episode, we dig deep with Bernadette Mcclelland. We learn how she wrote down a manifestation letter which led her to working with Tony Robbins in Unleash the Power Within. Now, Bernadette is working with sales executives around the world on the psychology of sales. Bernadette says, put the bravery into selling, the personal into leadership, and the real into results. Now, I had an amazing conversation with Bernadette a couple months ago about the whole idea of having a thought and going for it. Now, Bernadette really wanted to work with, be a speaker for the big Tony Robbins. Now, this is an amazing story. I'm not going to tell it. I'm going to let Bernadette share it. But I just love the concept of having a thought, getting emotionally attached to it and going for it, not letting the no's get in the way. So Bernadette, please share us that story about how you became connected to the Tony Robbins coaching.
Well, I've got to be honest here and say that at the point in time where it all started to happen, I didn't really know that much about him. Yes, we'd heard his name. I had a pirated CD, I think, and a book from an op shop that still had the $1 sticker on it that I had never read. My husband and I had, and this is a story unto itself, we had not long gone through bankruptcy and just filed for bankruptcy. And I had been very ill. And so I started to get better. And keeping in mind now we had no money, we had no home, we had nothing, but we did have a little bit under the mattress, and that was enough for me to invest in myself, because the only way we could see ourselves moving forward was for me to go out and build my own business, because Tim's salary would, at the new job that he got was capped, like most people out there in the world, and so our ticket to getting back in the game was via me. So the money that we did have in a little black bag under the mattress all of it went for my diploma in coaching.
Wow. And
so we kind of took a risk. And so I completed my diploma in coaching, but during the journey, in the first couple of months, I sat there and I thought, if I'm going to be a coach to other people, then I'm somebody who has to walk my talk. And so I had to get a coach. And so it was purely by chance that I was on the internet and I saw a free coaching session. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to take advantage of this free coaching session from Tony Robbins. And so I logged in and, I thought it was one of these scarcity-based, by the end of today, you must book in kind of thing. So I think it's still going today, like 10 years later. So anyway, I got on to this guy and, I was very open and upfront. And I said, I'm just letting you know I'm going to have this coaching call with you because I want to model you. I want to copy you. I want to model you. So he's gone, no dramas. So we had a connection. We made this connection. His name is Steve Becker. So I get off the phone and my husband says to me, so how much was the coaching? I said, well, I don't know. We didn't even talk about price. And he just gave me this coaching call. And so Tim said, well, message him back and see what the costs are. So keeping in mind, we had no money. And so, which is why I went for the free coaching session. And so I connected back with him via email and he came back with the pricing. And my husband said, you have to do it. So our daughter paid for my coaching session. Wow. And it was in that time, a couple of months into the coaching, and my coach, and I still have the piece of paper, my coach said to me, right, Bernadette, for your homework, what I want you to do is I want you to write a visualization letter. And I'm like, oh, what's that? A manifestation letter, sorry. And she said, I want you to go into the future 12 months. And I want you to write a letter to somebody you haven't seen for the past 12 months. And I want you to tell them everything that has happened to you, rather than just setting a goal. So I sat there that afternoon and I did this letter. And the next morning, I was making my son's lunch for school, and my phone rings and my husband answers it. And he said, I don't know who it is. He said, it's some guy with an American accent. And I took the phone, and it was Steve. And I said, what are you doing ringing me? He said, well, he said, Tony's just put out a request to us sales consultants that if we know of anybody that would fit the values of Tony's organization and could come on board as a coach, to approach them. He said, we, Cynthia, your coach, and I think that you would be a perfect fit. And I said, walk with me. And so with the phone in my ear, I walked him into my office and I read the final paragraph of my manifestation letter I had written the day before. And it said, it's 12 months later, Cynthia is still coaching me, which she didn't, by the way, but Cynthia is still coaching me. And Tony Robbins has just messaged me, congratulating me on an awesome year and asked me to be his coach for Australia and New Zealand.
Wow.
So I knew at that point in time that no matter what hoops I had to jump through, it was mine.
Wow.
And I was with Tony for 3.5 years. One of my other bucket list items was to speak at one of Tony Robbins events, whether it was Date with Destiny or Unleash the Power Within. And I spoke at Unleash the Power Within and shared our story. And it was fantastic. So yes, that was the Tony Robbins journey.
I think is a little bit of the secret sauce in achieving what you really want, even though the financials might not be there. You had an amazing support from your family. You just didn't let the closed doors or a bad situation get in your way. You just kept on going forward, and look where we are today. Like, I love that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love the letter that you spoke about. You wrote down in words. That's a powerful thing. Let's talk about your earlier days, what it was like being Bernadette in New Zealand.
Oh man. So I'm the oldest of 5 children. Yep. And I didn't stay in New Zealand very long. It was 18 years of age, and I had this dream. I was a year out of school, and back then I worked at the post office in New Zealand, and you were allowed to have 6 months leave without pay after 12 months of working.
Wow.
So I grabbed that 12 months, and all the colleagues that wanted to come to Australia at the end of that 12 months in our induction, they fell by the wayside. So I ended up putting an advertisement in the daily newspaper in Auckland for female companion wanted. Now that has a totally different connotation these days.
Sure does.
But I met a brilliant friend, and we travelled Australia.
Fantastic. So you went into the corporate world, and how long were you in the corporate world for?
I was, oh goodness me, I probably early 20s, and I left in 2000 to start my own practice. Wow. So predominantly for 20 of those years I was at Xerox. Okay. And worked my way up from data entry. This is pre-computers, but data entry through credit, sales secretary, sales coordinator. Yeah. And then I looked at the caliber of guys that were selling and marrying it up with the commissions I was paying them. And I thought, if he can do that, then so can I. And that was the beginning of my journey into the sales environment.
Wow. That is fascinating to me. It just reminds me of Mary Kay. She was in the corporate world for a very long time, and then she was always getting less pay than all the men, and then she created Mary Kay and is now giving so many people, so many women around the world a sales position. So that's fascinating. So what really took you with the world of sales? What did really get you going?
Yeah, a great question. A really, really good question. because when I applied for the sales trainee role at Xerox, all those years ago, it took me 3 goes at getting the job. And each time I went for the interview over a 1-month period. So, I was knocking on that door every week almost. They kept saying, no, you don't have what it takes.
Wow.
You are not aggressive enough. And after the 3rd knockback, I kind of walked down the hall and I showed the regional manager just how aggressive I could be. and I got the job. So I often think, what was it that had me so het up about being in sales? And I think part of it was, you're told you can't do something and, by goodness, you're going to go out and show it. But the other part of it as well, I think, is that it gave me autonomy. It gave me the ability to make more money. It would also, I'm a social person, and sales is a very social environment. And when you get somebody who's got, like an entrepreneurial mindset or a social mindset, and you put them in a 9 to 5 rigid, your lunch hour is at 1 o'clock to 1:30, it's never going to work. You're never going to be happy. So I think the whole environment of sales, allowed me to do my own thing, whilst also being part of a team.
You now are a keynote speaker and speaking to like thousands, millions, a lot of people, let's not put it around the world. Like, you actually are doing tours in the US, Australia, and so forth. So what is it? What's the secret sauce that Bernadette's sharing with all these people that's just helping them along their journey? Like, what is it about you that you're allowing all these salespeople to just go out and kill it?
I don't go down the track of, yes, I teach sales skills and I teach, and I work with a business and I build out, a sales process. So there's the strategic side of it that is definitely a part of it. But where I thrive is where I can get people, I can see people going, I get it. I get it. And it's never about the how-tos. Mm-hmm. It's never about the skills. Yes, you can educate on skills, but then you have to say to yourself, or you have to ask the question, I know what to do, but why am I not doing it? And, we all know how to put the bins out as kids. We all know how to do the dishwasher as kids. But what's stopping us doing it when we're asked? So, it comes back to what is stopping you? What is preventing you from doing what you know you can do?
That's fair.
And so, so when you can actually bring in psychology and neuroscience, and you can bring in that side of it to the equation, it's often people don't know what they don't know. So it's an awareness about themselves as well. And I just love that.
That's fantastic. So you're really getting into the psychology, the mindset of what it is to get out of that little hole that you might be in from getting on the phone or whatever. So there must have been days in your corporate journey to your business that you got stuck and so is that the teaching of the corporate world that you learned all the lessons in, is that now what you can see in your book?
I'm proud of that book. This here is bringing in 3 layers, if you like, mm-hmm. of thought processes, mm-hmm. and 3 columns, if you like, of outcomes. So when we look at coming in at a very transactional level as salespeople, that's where we're rolling out, how to make contact with somebody. We're rolling out our features, advantages, and benefits, the content of what we sell. We're rolling out the contract to get salespeople, customers to sign on the dotted line. That is very much a transactional sell. But we all need to know how to do that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we can't negate that. The next level up is where we move from transactional or instructional, and we move to transitional and influential. So this is where in the 80s we learned, how to connect with somebody by building rapport. It's how we learned to consult with a buyer by our questioning skills. And it's how we learn to converse with a buyer and to be able to, I guess, bring into the equation customer service and, you know, total quality and all the rest of it. Where we are today is we've got to go up another layer. And that is where it's all about being transformational. It's about being inspirational. And so in order to get to that level, we actually need to start to look at our own levels of conviction. And when we hear the word conviction, we think of judge and jury and, you know, you've broken the rules. But we have to break the rules. We have to break our own rules. You know, and then we move across from that level of conviction. And if you want to be transformational inspiration, you also need to be able to speak at a higher level where you can speak at a contextual. So it's all about putting context into the conversation. Mm-hmm. And then finally, if you really want to sell a difference out there in the marketplace, your final outcome has to be contribution. You know, you have to look at the word contribute. And how are you contributing to your buyers' growth? And how are you helping them build their customers' growth? Oh. So there's all this, you know, and they're the 9 chapters and they're the 9 conversations in my book. So that's kind of how I've pulled together a little bit of the psychology and the strategy in that book. Yes, very much so.
Seriously have to get Bernadette's book. The psychology in the book is just going to be a huge game changer for anyone. So what's the title of the book again, Bernadette?
The title of the book is The Art of Commercial Conversations, Drive Revenue, Increase Margin, and Sell a Difference.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. Let's say you passed away, which
yes,
might be for a long time.
Yes.
But I was at your funeral. Well, what's the legacy that you'd like to leave behind?
What a big question.
End of your day. And look, you take your time. I'll continue to speak. But what is your big goal? What is it that you want people to think about you at the end of your days in this beautiful universe that we live in?
Wow, that's kind of coming from here now, isn't it? Gosh. You know, and my thoughts immediately go to my kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I want to be, I guess, the best role model.
Wow.
That I can be for my 2 kids. And, you know, because I guess they are 25 and 34.
Yeah.
And they have gone through their own little hiccups. But, you know, there's going to be bigger hiccups.
Yeah.
As they get older and older and older. And I would just love for them to be able to look at their mum and dad and think, wow, you know, they went for it.
Wow.
They just went for it. They didn't let anything stop them. They chose where they were going to put their energy and with whom they were going to put their energy. And the room may not be filled with many people, but the people that are in there are just, they love us. And that's what I would love, you know, to go out with the people who are in the room to be saying, we loved her.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just gave me chills, Bernadette. We are all here to connect with one another. And I think it's so easy when we're in the corporate world, we're in our business, when we're a keynote speaker, to be focused on achieving the next financial goal or getting that next new car or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we are on this universe to connect with each other. We're now, you know, talking through the internet and doing this amazing podcast and so forth. But you just gave me chills from your magical words. And I know that your conversation today will definitely help so many people out there who are on a journey, who may be a little stuck in where they are today. Just know, guys, that there is so much support out there. We are not alone. Just close your eyes and feel it. Love is everywhere. So what's the last little leg of 2019 going to look like for Bernadette Mcclelland?
In my last part of 2019, there's probably 2 parts to it. I'm coming back to America, so I've got some more speaking gigs to do in America in October. So late September, October. And in November is my birthday. And so I've always had this dream. Here we go again.
Love it.
And yes, it's been written down. the dream was always to walk the Camino del Santiago in Spain, and to walk into Santiago de Compostela, whatever it's called, on my 60th birthday. So that's not going to happen because I'm going to be here in Australia. However, I'm going to be going to America. And it just so happens that between two conferences, there is a 2-week gap. And the second lot of conferences are on the East Coast of America. Mm-hmm. And Portugal is on the West Coast of Spain. And Portugal is closer to New York than it is to Melbourne, Australia.
Yes.
So my husband has said, go with my blessings. You will miss our 28th wedding anniversary. I forgive you. And it will be 2 weeks before I turn 60. And I'm going to be walking the Camino in Santiago. So I'm only doing the 120 kilometer one. Wow. I say only. But that is what the end of this year brings me. And that's going to also give me the opportunity to be by myself and reflect on this amazing journey that is our life, and project into where I would love to see, the next however many decades before all those people are in that room talking about me.
Come on now. So Bernadette can be found, and we will put the link to your website. It is BernadetteMcclelland.com. Is there any other words of advice that you'd like to listen to sales professionals who might be a little bit stuck, or just some business owners who want a little bit of inspirational thoughts?
I guess what's coming up for me here is, to row your own boat. I'm just actually looking straight ahead and thinking, but what my eyes are fixated on is an old newspaper clipping that I've had on the back of my office door. It says, in business, losers take chances and winners make choices.
Oh, I could listen to you all day. Bernadette, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and all the listeners listening, from coming on and sharing your story. Wow, what an amazing show today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe and share with all your friends. I'll see you on the next show, where LV Connects interviews people on how they connect, inspire, and unite. I'll see you soon.